Hey YouTube, Matty's Day 12 Team JMT coming to you guys with a ruling video. And in this video I'm going to talk about some of the cards that came up in question at YCS New Jersey and some of the cards that I feel like that are, how it's going to affect the meta now, the way those cards are being ruled. So the first card that I want to talk about is Evil Swarm Caster. So let me tell you what it does. During the turn that he's normal summoned, he gives you the ability to normal summon an Ill Swarm monster again. So basically it gains you an additional normal summon to your first normal summon, which allows you to make your rank 4 plays. And if you have like Mandragora, it gives you a chance to make like Shockmaster or Ouroboros. Just makes for some additional plays. So the way this is being played in the OCG or in Japan is that anytime that this guy is normal summoned, it sets the condition for the turn that at any time during that turn you can have that extra normal summon. So the issue that you have with it setting a condition as opposed to it using its effect is that you cannot use stuff like Effect Veiler or Fiendish Chain or Breakthrough Skill on this card in the OCG because that negates the effect. This is setting a condition, so you still get to make all of your plays that you would have made had he not been Effect Veilered. So, because it really doesn't affect him at all. So you just get to push through Effect Veiler, you just get to push through Breakthrough Skill, you get to push through all of those cards, and you don't have to worry about them. You get to make all of your plays and not have to worry about those cards. So that makes the Evil Swarm deck really good over there because it gives them the ability that much easier to put Ophion on board first turn. Now here in the TCG at YCS New Jersey, it was ruled differently. They ruled it that is a continuous effect. So continuous effects are only active while the monster is on the board. So if you were to Bottomless Trap Hole this guy, Torrential Tribute, any of those things that would remove him from the board, you don't gain that extra normal summon. Also, if you were to Effect Veiler, Fiendish Chain, Breakthrough Skill, any of the other cards that will negate his effect, if you were to use that card against him, you no longer get that extra normal summon, which makes it harder for you to go into your rank 4s. It makes it harder for you to make your plays. So where in Japan, in the OCG, they can just play through those cards, we don't get that liberty here in America. We now have to play around those cards. We now have to make our play with casters, knowing that my opponent can have Fiendish Chain, my opponent can have Effect Veiler, and can kind of shut down what I'm wanting to do. Of course, if they Effect Veiler caster, then they don't have the Effect Veiler to Effect Veiler Ophion, which will allow them to make some plays. However, if they Effect Veiler caster, theoretically they're not going to have to worry about Ophion because they're going to stop your Ophion play. So yeah, that's kind of what we have to deal with now, is you can't just push through Effect Veiler with this card anymore. You now have to be aware of your opponent having a Breakthrough Skill, the possibility of having a Breakthrough Skill or a Fiendish Chain or something along those lines. So next card I want to talk about is, I've got Heavy Infantry picked out. It doesn't have to be Heavy Infantry, it could be any of the Atlantean monsters. But the ruling that has happened here at, or well, not here, but the ruling that happened there at YCS New Jersey is that it was ruled that if an Atlantean monster's effect activates and then is no longer in the graveyard when it resolves, that cards like Soul Drain cannot stop it from resolving. Soul Drain says that anything activated in the graveyard basically is negated. However, what they're saying now is that if this card activates in the graveyard and then is back in the hand, that Soul Drain cannot stop it because it's in the hand, not in the graveyard. So why is that important? Because there's a lot of Mermill players that are taking in Mermill Abyss Strung. And what this card allows you to do is that when this card is normal summoned or special summoned, you can discard a water monster from your hand to the graveyard, then add a level 3 or lower water monster from your graveyard back to your hand. You can only use the effect once per turn. So what does that mean? What that means is if I normal summon this card and I'm holding heavy infantry in hand with a marksman in the grave, I have the available target for Abyss Strung. I can normal summon him, discard the heavy infantry, and then choose the same heavy infantry that I discarded to add back to my hand. Heavy infantry activates. However, at that time, heavy infantry is not in the graveyard to resolve, which means that Soul Drain cannot stop it, which means I still get to pop the card on board, and I still have the heavy infantry in hand to discard for Megalo or whatever other discard outlet that I have that turn. So there you go, guys. Those are some of the cards and the rulings that were brought up at YCS New Jersey, and I really hope that these aren't being overlooked, because I really do feel like that these rulings affect the meta a lot more than what we may be giving them credit. So I appreciate it, guys. Subscribe, comment down below, show us how much you love us.